Game started.
Z. Arlindo from Brazil. Okay, let's try e4 again. A kind of weird game last time where played e6 and d6 in response to e4 and d4. Okay, but here we have a Sicilian. Okay, standard move. Open Sicilian. And we'll see what variation we get. Ah, the Najdorf. Okay, let's see. Well, I had good luck with the English attack last time. Let's try that again. Yeah, I think that's the most active and accurate move here. Where does the knight want to go? Maybe to b3. Sort of the point of the a6 move when it was first introduced was so you could play e5 and kick the knight without it going to... you could play e5 without the knight going to b5 and harassing you. But that idea, well, a lot of times people ended up playing e6 instead of e5 for whatever reason. Okay, so I think I will still go ahead with this English setup where I defend the pawn, keep the knight out of the square g4, and castle queenside. And we'll see how it goes. There's a secondary idea in this position, which is, I mean, besides the English attack, it's not. Maybe it's a primary idea rather than secondary, but an additional idea is taking advantage of the backwards d6 pawn. So you want to keep pressure on the d file and try and keep him from pushing d6 to d5. If he can liquidate that pawn, it's a long-term positional weakness of his, and he wants to liquidate it. If you can stop that, you are doing pretty well usually. So at any point you want to check. And he could actually play that now, couldn't he? E5, knight takes, knight takes, queen takes. Yeah, he would take with the bishop. E5, pawn takes, knight takes, bishop takes, queen takes, rook takes. Okay, so I have enough force to stop it at the moment. I can always put a piece there, but then I would end up after a trade with a pawn on that square. So a lot of talking. Let's move. Harass this knight, and that also undefends. Takes one more defender away from the d5 square. And I still don't know where this bishop wants to go. Now the knight can come back to this square. Let's continue with the pawn advance. Oh, maybe I can't play that just yet. I could play here and then follow up with h4. Anyway, I just played h4 right away. I believe he could take it. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, maybe there's some tactical punishment for it. Okay, he's grabbing my knight. Okay, that's one less piece that's defending d5, but he gets a good knight there. Does he? No, I should just take that knight, right? If I take the knight, it's a trick. If I take the knight, his bishop here would be a little bit embarrassing. Or would it? I take the knight, pawn takes, queen takes, it's okay. If I take the knight and bishop takes, then the bishop comes back. And that's okay. Yes, I think I can take it. Now I can take here, but this is opening up a file onto his king. So maybe there's a danger here for black in this position. We'll see. I want to get a rook on the g file and play h4. to dislodge that bishop, and he can play bishop to f3, I guess, and chase my queen off that diagonal. So I can't immediately triangulate. Okay, let's just get the bishop off the back rank. He defended his d-pawn. Maybe with the threat here, with this rook, then when the bishop, if the bishop were to come to f8, f6 to chase my queen, I could take the pawn on d6. He could defend with the knight. That's probably the better move, knight f6. And I could think about, oh, that move. Well, maybe that's good. Maybe it is good. But I can play a pawn. I can play pawn f4, f5. Okay, that hits a4, d3, and over here a4 and b3. Let's see, it opens up a line for the queen to defend the d-pawn. But isn't this good? Well, maybe he can push. He can't take because it's pinned. I was just thinking that weakening that square ought to be good. And I could play knight to knight d5 here, putting extra pressure on f6 and maybe threatening pawn to f6 since he can't take it. If he just leaves it there, doesn't play f6 himself or something like that, or bishop f6 he could play. Okay, rook there. So he's doubling up on my pawn here. So knight to knight d5 hits the bishop and threatens f6. Not really. It doesn't really, or does it? Yeah, it does threaten that. Okay. If I were able to get that in f6, then there would be threat of queen to h6 to g7. Well, his bishop would go back to f8, so it would protect against the mate over there. maybe I should just take, not play that fancy stuff. Now, when he takes back with the pawn, I could play something like bishop to h5. And maybe sack the bishop for 2 pawns, get my rook there, and my rook here and a rook here and a queen here. Seems like he's all open to an attack. And my knight not too far away, knight ready to jump to d5, to f6 or e7. So yeah, he's stopping to think. I assume he has to retake that pawn. It seems dangerous not to, but maybe he should throw in bishop f6. But if he plays bishop f6, I can take a pawn with check and then move my queen. So I guess he has to take that pawn. Okay, now my idea was bishop h5. He still can't take it. Be fun to play rook g3 to h3 and mate him in the corner here, but he can block this diagonal still pretty easily. I could develop my knight, bring my knight in here to stop that, and then lift my rook. But I like the bishop plan. I think that's more direct. And I'm thinking if he chases my queen, I'm going to d3 here. No, e3. Just staying away from attacks. Ah, the knight. The knight went to e6, attacking my queen. Yeah. Okay, I do need to move the queen first. This is just not fast enough, I don't think. Unless there's a mate there. So bishop takes, knight takes. Bishop moves with a check. King goes here. Yes, I don't see the mate. Okay, so where can the queen go? I think e3. So I can get to this square, get to the h6 square. Okay, and the bishop. Yeah, logical. But can I take it? Rook takes, knight takes. That's a problem. He's blocking the pin I was counting on there. He's blocking that pin. Okay, so if I play queen here, queen g3, pawn takes bishop, pawn to h4 should win the bishop back, right? As the bishop is pinned, and the queen is not easily attackable there by other pieces. So at least I won't be losing a piece. Then I could play a move like rook to d5, hitting this bishop from the side, and then maybe I am threatening. Rook takes, knight takes, queen takes, and my queen is defended by the rook. Interesting game. Tactics and counter-tactics. So he can't take my bishop, or if he does, it's not gaining a lot. He could still take it, just trade bishops effectively. He decides to do that. Okay. That might have been his best move. It's hard to tell. Yeah, so he can get a pawn way up there. I'm hitting the d6 pawn here. I think it makes sense to take it. If he harasses my queen, I can throw in, I can take his queen. If he takes my queen, I take a rook with check. So materially, I think this is working out. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, pawns are even. Pawns are even. I guess I lost a pawn in that exchange, yeah. And then I get a pawn back. Okay, so now if I take here, then take here. I take here with check. Knight takes, queen, rook takes. Or I take here with check, queen takes, rook takes, knight takes. Ah, that's no good. Is there some other clever move here? How about knight? Knight to knight d5, hitting the queen, getting closer to the action. Seems like his king position is loose, but he has a lot of pieces around it. The only piece that's not in play is this rook on a8. And the knight's a good defender. I was thinking of sacking the exchange, but with the the queen there, I didn't see the value in it. Because rook takes knight, rook takes rook, and the queen is still guarding this square, so I could grab the pawn, but then he trades queens, and he's down the exchange but up a pawn, or vice versa. He's up the exchange but down a pawn, but it doesn't seem like enough of an advantage for me, and all the force is gone from the board. A lot of the force is gone from the board. He could play his queen, not there. Let's see, rook controls, I mean the knight. The knight controls these two squares, the pawn controls that square. The queen could just step back here, yeah. Now, there is a check here possible with the knight. So if the knight moves, I can throw in the move knight to f6 check and maybe pick up that rook. And let's see, his king's moves are limited. This is what I was talking about, his king being a little bit open. The pawns are so far advanced, there's space around it. And so now he's got to defend this area with pieces. Oh, queen here, is that possible? No, I can still consider knight f6 check. King moves, and then I can't actually take the rook because... but maybe I could take his knight. If he moves the queen, I can take his knight. Not right away. I'd have to throw in the check first and then take the knight, I guess. So, okay, tries that move. Rook to e7. Well, it covers this square. So if I throw in a check and the king moves,
check.
Then can I grab this knight? Seems like it. It's only defended once and attacked twice, but the queen somehow could set up a pin, but the king has to move after this check, so it's only a question of where it goes to. It doesn't want to go on this diagonal. Might go to this square here. That would be king to f7, and that would defend, yeah, king to f7 defends the defends that knight. Okay, but so rook takes, queen takes, king takes. Not good. So rook here, threatening another discovered attack. Another discovered check, also defending the knight, which he could have taken. Really complicated position. So I think the king has to move again. Is this possible? That's an okay move. How about knight here check?
Time warning.
He can defend with the knight, and I can take the rook.
Check.
The king can take the knight. Oh, that's just dumb. That was just dumb. Oh, man. Well, maybe I get my knight back. That was pure dumb luck if I survived this one. Now maybe I went on time, but man, I had more time. I should have considered that one a bit more carefully. Okay, so now I can take here. And
check.
Yeah, so this is going to be winning,
check.
Right? Check here.
Black forfeits on time.
Okay, so I think I won fair and square. The king moves, and then rook here.
Incoming challenge.
Yeah, and then rook there.
Game started.
Okay, I'm going to start another game, I guess. But anyway, I was going to say, check there, king goes here, rook here, wins the queen for a rook. So that should be winning. Okay, that's it for this video, and then I'll get going on the next game. See you guys later. Bye.